Hey guys, this is Sammy from Revolver TV. We're here today at Razor and Tie headquarters to chat with Phil from All That Remains. How you doing today, man?
Good, real good.
You know, things have been busy for you, I imagine. Filling in with Five Finger Death Punch. You've got the new album coming up. Yeah. Been crazy, right?
Yeah. You know, the holidays usually kind of chill out, but right after Thanksgiving, I got a phone call and said, "Hey, can you get on an airplane?" So, you know, and I got the opportunity to help those guys out, and we've known the guys in Five Fingers since before they were even a band. You know, I've known Ivan since he was in Motorgrader. So, you know, the fact that I could jump in and help out my friends, you know, it was really cool. Really cool. It was a lot of fun, really good experience. So.
It seemed like the fan reception they really took to you, and obviously the guys are super nice. So
yeah.
I was
a little surprised at how well the fans responded. You know, especially with a band like Five Finger, you know, with a frontman like Ivan, I kind of expected some people to be like, you know, if it's not Ivan, I don't want to hear about it. And I didn't get that at all. Like, it was nothing but love and you know, messages of support and messages from people saying thanks and you know, good job, pat on the back stuff, which is always really, really nice to hear that you're doing a good job for your friends. So it was a great experience.
Probably reassuring, and hopefully that, you know, they'll check out what you guys have coming up, which is why we're here today too. Your 8th studio album, Madness, coming this spring. You know, thinking about it, you know, the last time we spoke, or at least you spoke to Revolver, we did an in-studio report. You promised that this was going to be a diverse album. You know, having heard a sneak peek, it is, man.
Yeah, it's definitely not, you know, a rehash of something we've done before, and obviously that was intentional. We've always been one of those bands that wants to change and evolve. Like, it's something that I've said in interviews more times than I can count. We don't want to put out the same record again and again and again. Some bands, you know, they find their groove and that's what they do and they stick to it. That's not us. That's just not the way that we want to you know, create music. We want to do stuff that you know, kind of challenges us. You know, it kind of, if I feel like I want to be a little nervous about, is this the right thing when I'm doing something, or when we're doing music, you know, kind of have that, just that little bit of self-doubt, you know, to be like, did we push it too far? And with this record, I think that, you know, we really did push it about as far as we could. You know, I mean, I'm not sure if you've heard anything other than the singles, but you know, there's a lot of stuff on it that is very different from the singles that you've heard. And even with Madness and Safe House, those two songs are very different style songs. But the record itself gets even weirder, I guess you could call, you know. There is some stuff that, you know, falls right into what people would expect from All That Remains. You know, there's probably half the record is kind of like that, but the other half of the record we really said, all right, let's try and do some really different stuff and kind of push the boundaries of what you know, what we're allowed to do. I mean, historically, I think people that are familiar with All That Remains and with me know that as soon as we're told we can't do something, well, it's time to do it. It's time to do it. You know, don't do that. Oh, really? You know,
hold my beer.
Exactly.
You know, I have gotten a chance to take a peek at it, and you do have a bunch of some electronics, hard rock. You've got your ballads back. I mean, really, every song sounds different, and obviously you did go in with the intention to create different sounds. You know, was it something kind of hard to keep, like, in line, like, oh, we got to keep this part with this song or this here? You know, I imagine that was kind of hard to kind of cover a whole bunch of musical ground and sort of keep it, you know, on the same line.
A little bit. I think that because of the way that we did it, you know, going and starting with lyrics first, starting with lyrics and vocals, it was completely different than anything we've ever done. I play guitar, Ollie, obviously, and Mike are the guitar players, but we're the guys that write most of the stuff. So to not approach it with a riff or two riffs first, you know, to come up with an idea first for lyrics, to come up with you know, a line that was cool or something, that's completely different than what we'd ever done. So it was kind of tough to make sure that we were like, you know, all right, this is what we want to do. And, you know, we know that we're trying to push the boundaries here, and we want to go ahead and keep pushing. It was a little harder, I think, on the rest of the guys, because I was the guy pushing to say let's try something different, and I think that they would say that it was tough to get to the point where it was okay to do different things. But I think it worked out really well in the end. I'm excited about the record. So
it definitely. And the other thing in addition to it too is you have a new member as well. You've got Aaron taking over on bass. How was it working with him this time around?
He's great. He's a great bass player. His style is different than Jeannie's. He plays much harder, and I think you can hear that in his tone. I think you can hear it on the record too. The bass is a little more predominant on this record than any other All That Remains record, and I think that has a lot to do with because of Aaron's, his style and his delivery.
Sure, and you touched on how you kind of went from a vocal perspective, and definitely for our readers, they're always interested in lyrics. And with the two singles that are already out, Madness and Safe House, those kind of have some different meanings as well. Some sort of inspired by TV, and the other one sort of, just the change in repetition life. Is the variation of, the songs, is that reflected on the lyrics as well? Are you kind of covering a bunch of topics, or is there one theme here?
We do cover a bunch of topics. On every All That Remains record, there's always been stuff that's, personal to me. And this one's not any different. There's, a lot of songs that are about relationships and in the past, and, stuff that's, there's always some kind of like, fight the power kind of stuff,
Sure.
As soon as someone tells you no, do it, those kind of things. And so I think that it does kind of, I guess it does hearken a little bit back to the way that I normally write lyrics, but it's definitely from a different perspective. So basically it was similar to records in the past, because it's about my interpretation of my own life. So, things that are important to me are represented, so. And
out of curiosity, it's something that we sort of discuss at Revolver from time to time. You were bringing up, when someone tells me no, that's my time. Is it harder to do those things in today's industry? Do you find, oftentimes people will read a lot of things about you online, the different blogs will do different things. But, are you ever worried about it? Do you really care? Or do you just say, I'm going to go do whatever I want and not let it affect you? Or, because I do see, this is the thing that we talk about, is it hard to sort of speak your mind these days?
I think you get a lot of pushback when you speak your mind, especially when you have opinions that like mine that tend to be fairly controversial. But I can't change who I am,
sure.
Especially if I don't want to. I really just don't feel like there's a situation or a reason to stop, pushing back on people that kind of try to keep you in line. I mean, that's kind of like what, heavy music has always been about. It's been about, doing what you're not supposed to do. It's been about rebelling, and so yeah. I mean, I think that I think that you do get more pushback now, especially with everybody, with the way that the internet works and everybody's so connected and stuff, and everyone has an opinion and everyone has a voice. But I don't find it hard to not voice I don't find it hard to voice my opinion. I think it comes pretty easily.
Good stuff, man. One final question. I think having the album title as Madness is really interesting because, at least what you were saying before with your SiriusXM interview is that, sort of that people get into this cycle where they do the same thing over and over again. It's that idea of the definition of idiocy, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a really interesting album title, and I'm curious if, what you were doing then and what you're doing now, has it changed for you at all?
When we were writing?
In terms of, titling it as Madness, has your definition of why you wanted it then and how it is now, has that changed?
No, because the conversations that we were having when we were writing specifically Madness, the song, they're all that stuff is really going on now. I mean, we did it, back in what was it? Probably in May or June that we did that song, and so it was like the election was coming up, and all of the upheaval that's happened since is kind of reflective of, you know, what we were talking about. So it hasn't really changed. It's almost intensified. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost gone from like 8, or, you know, up to 11. You know, so I think that it's the perfect title, the perfect song for, you know, right now. And I think that, you know, people are going to hear it and they're going to make their own decisions about what it's about, which
Sure.
is something that I always encourage people to do. For a long time, I wouldn't even talk about what songs were about, because I was like, it's not about what I wrote it about. It's about what it means to you. And I think that that's still going to happen. And I think that, you know, people are going to internalize it. And I think that's a good thing, you know. And I think that, you know, there are people on the right, political right, that'll hear the song and think it's one thing, and there's people on the political left that'll hear the song and think that it's another thing, and I might think that it is a third thing. But, you know, that's the great thing about, in my opinion, about being a lyricist and writing lyrics is it's always for the listener to decide what it's about and what it means to them.
Cool, and I'm sure people are really excited to get a chance to hear the full album in general. So I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us today, and Razor and Tie for allowing us to use their space. As Madness is out later this spring via Razor and Tie, make sure you pick it up, check out All That Remains. Phil, thanks. I'm Sammi from Revolver TV.